Damn it.
I remember the first time one of my peers, when I was just getting started, was like, "Oh, I gotta go on a meeting," and I was just like, "Oh, it's cool, man. You're going on meetings, I'm just out here doing oil changes and fucking jet ski tours." And then I remember going like, "Man, I can't wait to go on meetings." Now I'm just like, oh my god, like from Billy Madison, right? When he's like, "Don't you ever say that again. I can't wait to go to hike school, Billy."
All you want to do is go out and do oil changes and get on jet skis.
Dude, they called me last week because like a boat was sinking and the rest of our entire crew was like doing this massive Christmas light job. And I was like, what? I'm like, go get a boat from sinking. I'm like, dude, that's not even me anymore. I'm like, when I was there, I never even had a boat sinking. Like every time I was pulling boats out, they were still floating. So of course it's just like a fucking comedy of errors. Like I get the wrong trailer, things like ready to just fall off the side because there's like 3,000 pounds of fucking water in it. And that's just like dark. And I also learned that I have terrible vision at nighttime and I haven't pulled boats at night since like 2020 or something like that. And I'm like, I can't see anything in my rear view mirror. Like,
You
oh,
learned you're the last person should be out there now.
all I could think of was the jet ski competition, the jet ski parking competition. I was like, oh my God, I probably would have lost. I still got it. We got that thing going. And then it had a flat tire. And I was just like, oh my God, dude. Meetings, this. I'm like, no, like somewhere in the middle is where I lie.
Like comedian.
Well, we got a good show today. We got our long-awaited part two with Zeb from Zebulon LLC. And I just want to start off funny story. So we went to go log in to our podcast recording platform, Squadcast. And when I went to the website, I got some like strange message and it wanted me to download this program. And I immediately you know, got curious to what's going on. And after I did a little research, they accidentally let their domain expire and some hackers bought it. So, and this is like a big platform, so all these people on Twitter are like, hey, what's going on? I tried to log in your platform and they're being very mum about it. Like they're very, very short in their replies. This is going to cost them millions of dollars to fix because they're likely going to have to send Bitcoin or ransom. I mean, this happens a lot. Like these hackers, they'll wait for a big domain to expire and they run these crawlers and they'll buy it and then they'll you know, like what happened with Mike from Gilligan's.
Yeah,
They
yeah. I mean, it's like if you guys aren't like long time listening to the show, a friend of ours, his the same thing, and it was brutal. They were just like, yeah, like Mike is a pedophile. Like they changed his website to say this, like
it was awful.
fucking wild. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he eventually had to work a deal, to buy it back. And but this is big. Someone's gonna have to pay a lot of money to fix this. But good reminder to go and make sure that you have auto renew on your domain name. And when you renew, do not renew for 1 year, renew for like 5 years minimum. I came close. There's one time one of my domains came close. So,
We have a guest in the background that's going to join Kevin.
Yeah.
oh, what do
It's
we have here?
It's so funny when we were wrestling the other day, and he was just like he threatened me with saying, "I'm gonna say the F word." Like I was holding him down and I wouldn't let him go. He's like, "I'm gonna say the F word." Like, don't make me say it.
Okay.
F word. Get out of here. Your first thing to fame is dropping an F bomb on the podcast. Go on, scram. Get. I got a. Oh no, you're good. Yeah, this is what happens, man. You
you ready for Christmas?
Yeah, so we're joined today with Zeb Smith from Zebulon. I feel like dude, we got to talk about this, bro. Like you do such a good job, but it's like eventually we're going to have to do tradesies, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to have to work with you on sales. I don't feel like you guys are hardcore. Like, is there anybody, and it can't be Corey. If you tell me Corey is your lead salesperson, like she's a sweetheart, but I feel like she would let me off the phone. Is there anyone in your org that you could say that gets on a sales call and is like, yeah, no, look, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but like, before you go, let me ask you this last question. But like, you know what I mean? Like the sales strategy where they're just like, not going to let you off until we get a fucking firm. Anybody at Zebulon, do that.
So I actually am that main sales guy. I mean, you went through the sales process and you bought.
I mean, I was a lot, dude. I was sold before I got on the phone. That doesn't count.
So there we go.
That's
So what
marketing.
do we need?
That's marketing. You just
All right, fair enough.
listen. You got we're no. That's a lob, dude. You know what I mean? My salespeople get lobs too. They're not out Grant Cardone in it. So we'll see, though. I want to run through the sales process through you and see how good you are. Then next,
All right.
we got to work through the branding, man. You know, it's like Zebulon LLC. What is that about? Why LLC? What's going on?
I don't remember exactly why LLC. I think that's just kind of as traditional professional kind of stuff, right? The name Zebulon, originally the business was branded as Ascent Accounting and Consulting. And I know. And so like a lady that I used to live with, or a lady in Durango, she was a big brander, big marketer. She actually did the the dog for Target. That was her project. And then she also is the lady that came up with Datsun picking up more chicks than a Lamborghini. So she was pretty stellar, but she was a rafting lady and we got to know each other over time. And she was like, you know what? Why don't you just name it Zebulon? From a broader perspective, it could be anything. Like Zebulon doesn't necessarily have to be your name. When you remove yourself from it, it could still be a continuation. It's rad. It's outdoors. So she picked Zebulon. I think she actually discouraged me from throwing in the LLC as well, but just holding on to those tried and true accounting backgrounds. You got to have it be and co, or you got to have the LLC.
Dude, so
So,
bad, man. Like, you know, we gotta like Zebulon Outdoors, I think would be fucking.
well, and actually, now I look at it, the LLC I think is just the web domain because Zebulon.com was taken. I couldn't do that, so I had to have LLC. But even when you look at all of our branding, our logos, and everything like that, there's no LLC anywhere. It's only ZebulonLLC.com.
So
So,
Greg fucked it
so
up.
Greg,
It's your fault, Greg. Good job.
so So, Greg, why don't you go ahead and put one of those bots out there so when Zebulon.com comes available for sale, I can go in and buy it and I don't have to use the LLC anymore?
Zebulon.com is taken.
Yeah,
What do they have on that site? Let me see. Is it just
it was like a login portal for something nefarious, I'm sure.
Zebulon.com? No, it says it's for sale, $33,000.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not spending that right now. Kevin's like, yeah, you should.
Well, I don't know. I think you'll be all fine. You're just like super. I don't know that anyone's like really coming by your way via SEO. It's just like Greg and I are doing on a rebrand too. And we tell like gregandkevin.com gone. kevinandgreg.com doesn't. I really like Kevin and Greg dot sucks.
It is available, Kevin and Gray. But this is actually an interesting topic because I I don't think domain names in particular matter much anymore. There used to be a way to hack it. Like if you're selling Dolphin Tours in Destin, Florida, then you buy dolphintoursdestinflorida.com. And then you can kind of own that keyword because Google used to put weight in the keyword of the domain name. But now it doesn't matter much anymore. It's more of just branding. So if you're going to go for a brand play, name it something that you want people to Google or remember about your business, not the actual thing you do, which is boat tours. You're just going to be in a crowded field. So I don't think like a .com or .net or whatever matters much anymore. I think you should try to find the brand name that you want to go with, and it could be a .co, a .ai, or whatever. But people get really
So
So
caught
Kevin
up in
dot,
that, especially people that've been in marketing for a while. They got to have a .com, and it has to be the right name. And I mean, if you have a name that you love, don't just buy the domain name just because. It's my opinion.
so so we're bringing back Zeb. We got into like the show could have ran probably a couple hours, so I wanted to run it. I wanted to run it back. We rarely do two parters, but I feel like Zebulon, this program, the Eddie, And then his services are for our industry at least are quasi one of one at the moment. Not something that you're going to go really search for or like as we're talking about. And so I've been doing it, and I feel like Zeb might be regretting bringing in Florida water sports into the circle. Um, so what's been your experience, Zeb, operating with like? Because I know I may seem like a one of one, but we're all fucking completely crazy in this industry. So, yeah. Well, so what do you think of? I mean, we're technically your first like Florida operator historically. You guys have been like rafting, West Coast, that sort of thing, guide. So, what do you think,
Yeah,
man?
no, totally. So it's actually, I mean, we were talking about this. So you're in the Eddie group right now, right? And also, you are even recognizing it's the same issues, the same concerns, right? The same customer base, the same similar operations. You might have different skins when it comes to, raft versus a jet ski, but customers are purchasing the same kind of experiences, activities. They want to get out, they want to have fun. The ramp up and ramp down of employees is a very similar issue and concern, headaches, challenges when it comes to bringing on a seasonal business flows. And honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Going to the port with you guys was awesome. The exposure that was there, I mean, it was great being on main stage, great having a breakout session, great having the expert panelists. And so, even within that, I mean, the buzz was real. People were appreciative of what we had to say, the content that we were putting out there, the transformational changes that were, laying out in front of the industry as a whole. And I thought the vibe was high. Working with you and working with Elia has been great. You guys have been awesome contributors into the Eddie group. You guys have that different little bit of a background that I think the broader industry appreciates hearing from. Even with Sacco that you were on with the other day, you were learning from canoe livery and campground owner up in the Northeast, right? So, yeah, from our perspective, it's been a fit. It's been beneficial. You guys are paying the bill, so that's helpful too.
Yeah. No, it's been great, man. I mean, I've definitely I've enjoyed it. I mean, there's a lot of curriculum with all the stuff that we kind of like signed on for with the AI accelerator piece of it, which I missed a lot. So I'm like the kid coming into class. Yeah, I asked Ilya, I was like, "Hey, man, are you building the AI? This other guy's got this whole marketing plan built out and all these." Fucking spreadsheets and all. I hope you're doing that, man. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing. I'm like, because I miss like like I kind of like the whole AI thing. I feel like is just it's a challenge right now. Like I don't want to say I'm bearish on it, right? I'm not like this thing's going to turn out to be nothing. I think we're going to blink, and if the promise is true. I think it's going to be so intuitive and so interesting and so like a lot the scale at which like we had to wait for how many years to figure out what SEO was or Google's ad platform. I think that's going to happen at a much accelerated pace. And for me, I really like the accelerator, but I'm also very protective and I value my time highly. And even like today, I think that kind of came out, right? Like I was just like, you had this huge like pricing, this whole like pricing diagram and really drilling down on pricing. And I was like, no, it's cool, dude. I really like that. Ship it, send it. I don't care the sound it makes when it fucking, I don't care what it's called. I only care about the sound it makes when it kills a man. Hashtag fucking Tropic Thunder, where he's like explaining the gun. Or he's like, I don't know what it's called. I just know what it sound it makes when it kills a man. Send it, ship it off to Greg. Sounds great. We're gonna make more money, and like, and I can see, like, oh no, man, we got to talk about this a little bit, because so I some of this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I have a tendency to like, to the point of like the exercise we went through with, Greg, Zeb put us through kind of like, I don't want to say, it's sort of like predictive index. It's Ray Dalio's, or like he's got another one. He puts everybody through Six Working Geniuses. We're to like figure out like, what kind of whatever worker you are, personality type.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot, yeah, to like to that point. I'm just like, ship it, we're good, send it, marketing. Like, it's not that I don't want to know. It's just that I like to see boxes get checked off and like move on to the next thing. And much to, like even Ilya's fucking pain points, like where he expressed in the Eddie, where he's just like, sometimes it's just like, there's just so much flying at me. You'll just be like, do this thing, get it done, move on to the next. Like, here's another thing we're doing, get that done, move it on to the next. Like, I just like Greg will tell me things and he'll just be like, remember I told you that? I'm like, that might as well have been 5 years ago, dude. I've had a million things run through my brain since then. Yeah, I just say that all to the curriculum is vast. The AI portion of it, the Eddie, which I really like because I really love waxing with other operators. There's a couple guys in that group. I'm like, man, those guys are my cup of tea. You know what I mean? Like the owner on the owner side of it. And hell, I reached out to Peter to do the podcast. So I really hope we are able to bring that flavor of outdoor activities to our audience. So I'm a huge fan.
Flavor. We can tell Corey we said flavor. All right, so backing up. So kind of proceeding this, right? Going into it, talking about the port, being present with your guys' audience, you've started going through the Zebulon journey itself. So fundamentally, Zebulon, we help operators work smart, have fun, make money, right? So kind of breaking those down in the segments, you're going through the financial services realm. So here's the make money side of things. And so within that, you mentioned pricing. We're getting into the pricing, but we're like 3 months in to just the discovery that you guys have gone through. And within your organization, just kind of recapping some of the highlights, we've defined for you what you guys want your owner comp goals to be. This is between you, Ilya, and Alphonse. We've set that target. We have backed into what we need operating income to be for your business. So we defined a certain amount there. And we have looked at top line and spend to help get you guys there. So the specific, mechanical exercise you and Ilya have gone through uh, fall into spend management on overhead and gross profit. So diving into spend management, we went through, and I'm kind of cadencing this out because even just today and over the course of this, we're basically almost doubling your business's net operating income through this process. And it's just been a 2 month process. All right. The spend management, remember going through this? We went through an export. I had you and Ilya go through line item by line item, every single transaction in the course of the year. You guys evaluated whether it was recurring or not, whether it could be replaced or negotiated, whether it was necessary. And, as tedious as it was, the outcome of it was surprising on how much bleed was taking place. And you guys made some immediate changes going on in there, which, by the way, we were already seeing a change in tide on your net operating income over the last 3 months, right? On just that spend management. So, kind of describe a little bit of your experience, if you would, going through that process with Ilya and just where you guys stand now as you guys are thinking for future and 2026 spend.
Yeah, so well, I think that even to the exercise, like the principles you whatever it was through that exercise, I think a lot of operators fall into now I don't give them 20 fucking different things, whatever, you know what I mean? Like I feel like you're gonna be an operations guy, you're gonna be sales and marketing guy, or you're gonna be a fucking finance guy. Like it's been my experience that those are the three different archetypes of owner operators that I usually run into. Mostly the majority of them are operators. Like almost every water sport owner that I meet is very like, yeah, man, I'll captain the boat, I'll wrench on the boat, I'll fucking send the boat out. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the back end, the tech, they're fucking like, oh my God, kill me. Sales and marketing, hate it. And then on the finance bookkeeping portion of it, and great operators too. I mean, I know guys that are like got away from operational, have moved themselves into more like sales, marketing, tech side, and getting interested in that side of things, but still can't fucking pencil anything for you because this industry and this business is there's a lot of there's just a lot of finance to it. Like whether you're, what kind of boats are you buying? What kind of jet skis are you buying? What are they going to be worth? Fucking how much does it actually cost to run them? Because they're variable. And as we start to pull apart like all the different, you look at Destiny Water Adventures, you see boats and jet skis. Well, we've got like, fucking 5 products in the boat rental side. We've got 3 products in the charter side, just on the boats, right? Because we utilize these in a lot of different ways. Jet skis are the same way. So it's like when you open this all up, man, there's all these different products, all these different services, all these different offers happening at different price points at different times of year, different times of week, different times of day. And I think like it's so daunting for your standard operator who doesn't have a team to pull that apart and really get granular on it, because the most things we get granular on is like, oh, well, what's my ROAS, or what's my, whatever, what's my spend on marketing, or, what's my conversion rate on site. No one's, for the most part that I'm sitting down with like a master level fucking PhD in accounting, forensic accounting, and really unwrapping all of this and going like, all right, well, oh, great, ROAS. This is like top of the fucking thing that I can talk to, is that it's like, well, we're not adding this in. You're not adding your phone salespeople in. We're not talking about close rate on phones. We're not mixing us all together. You think you're getting 10-1, but it's not. And I talked about this at the port, and that's happening all over the place in water sports for sure. Oh yeah, my net profit's like 30%. Like, oh, are you sure? On what? You know what I mean? Is it 30% on your charters? Is it 30% on your rentals? Is it 30% on jet skis, kayaks, retail, fucking head boat, parasailing? Because you look at the whole company and you go, yeah, this is what it is. And then when you start to like even go deeper than that, which is what we've been doing, it's like there's all these different variables that are affecting all the different products and the different offers, and you're coming up with like, well, yeah, we've got this amount of volume, but we could do less volume and change prices and make more money. And on the surface level, that sounds great. But as you sort of dig deeper to really optimize all that, as we're just sort of working through today, and that's just pricing. That's not even fucking overhead. And it is so fucking daunting that I don't see a lot of operators really getting that deep on it. But what I've really come to learn, and not just working with you, but I've really got to know it a lot better, because you can see I start kissing the microphone. You know what I mean? Like I'm not tuning out, like I'm listening, but man, my brain is going like fucking, you know what I mean? I'm just really thinking about like intently what you're saying. I'm not going like, oh man, I'd rather be anywhere but here. But that, when I do that, I'm listening, which now is like
a lot of the
fucking
problem
secret in the podcast.
is just cash basis accounting. That's everyone's just counting when they spend money and they make money, and there's no planning whatsoever. That is what I see in a lot of companies. And Zeb, you probably, they plan everything based on what's in the bank account and what's coming up in the next 30 days. And that's the difference between like a great operator and a good operator, is that they're making arrangements.
I'm going to share some stuff, right? So, and I mentioned, the spend analysis. That was one of the first things Kevin did. And Kevin, you ended up bringing it back to the pricing stuff that we went through today. So I want to come back to that pricing discussion, but on the spend management. All right. So you went through that spend management exercise, and even in our discussions, it was like, hey, if we want to change in output, if we want to change in our profitability, we got to change our behavior. You can't expect to do the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. So you and Ilya went through transaction by transaction and evaluated the effectiveness of every purchase in a year. And so, because of going through that exercise, you guys became aware of some unnecessary bleed. And I'm going to share a number with you real quick. So if we look at your organization's spend, if we look at Destiny Water's spend from September through the end of November, okay, historically, you guys spent about $350,000 in that time period. All right. And you guys did the spend analysis at the beginning of that September time period. And so far for this 3-month time period, your spend went from 350 down to 260. That was the impact the exercise had on you. In a 3-month time period, you saved $100,000. So historically, this September through November time period, okay, you guys were running an operating loss of about $100,000. That's part of the seasonality of this business. you're at a positive net operating income of 88,000. So almost a $200,000 flip on cash flow as a result primarily of the spend analysis. Okay, so that's one side of the coin. And this is just the off season. This isn't even really leaning into it when we've got a lot of money flowing through. So you're already close to $200,000 better this time right now in the last 3 months than you were at this time last year. Okay. So I want to get back to the top of the profit and loss, but that was the effects of your spend analysis that you and Eli went through and being aware of the bleed, getting granular, putting intentionality to each of those spend items and changing the behavior on the spend side, which is resulting in a much more profitable, much more, as you put it, Greg, positive cash flow fall time.
So I think like there's a couple great points that connect really well here, right? So when you're getting started, you're literally analyzing every swipe, right? I go and buy bottom paint for my boat. I'm like, fucking $300 for a gallon of bottom paint? Like, what the fuck? And now my guys go swipe a card for $10,000 worth of bottom paint at a time, you know? And when you're doing that first swiping in the beginning, you're analyzing everything, right? And I think like as you sort of grow and expand, a lot of times, like unless you're sitting there analyzing every fucking thing that comes through, you're just like, at least I am, like, get it done, right? To the whole point in the beginning, where I'm just like, yeah, get it done. I just want to see volume of work happening here. I want to see needles being moved. And what happens is the things get away from you because the same type of intentionality that you had with the swipes, not everybody does. So I think right back to that, when you end up working with or you hire somebody like Zeb or like a marketing agency or like Conversion Assist or whatever it is, now you're sort of not hyper focused on it, but you've become aware of it. You're spending money on it now, and it's like now the wheels are just kind of grinding. Like, oh, since I'm spending money on this, like you want to get the total value of it. So now it's like there's some things that I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get to that like with Zeb, but now I'm just sort of like, I need to start uncovering some of this a little bit more on my own. And now I'm actually spending more time because I want that like kind of turbocharge, right? Like, yeah, you're going to meet with your accountant once a month. I'm going to meet with Zeb twice a month. I'm going to meet with the Eddie group twice a month or once a month. I can't remember. However, it gets you thinking, and it gets you like sort of like going down that path. Whereas if I didn't spend the money, if I wasn't like, I'm not hiring that, blah, 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 too expensive, it's just kind of like we probably just keep on chugging along, doing what we've always done, which is just throw more shit at the wall, see if it sticks, continue to build on top, build on top, build on top, build on top. And there's this thing underlying in the business that's not being attended to because I don't want to go through the mental bandwidth of it. And so I think a lot of done with you services that give you like a really good understanding like what Zeb does. It's not like, and trust me, dude, like there's a huge part of me that wants to be like, dude, what's the level where you just change it all and fucking I don't ever even think about it, but I want to do the with you piece of it because I do want to have a better understanding because I'm not trying to scale a $2 million or $5 million company. I want to scale a 10 or 25 or a $50 million company. And the reality of it is if you don't have a, like, as the loosely saying this, the CEO, but if you're not pretty damn good or have a pretty good understanding or can speak with your CFO or your bookkeeper, or your marketing, and be having the same type of fucking language and same type of conversation that you're speaking with them, then it's like you can't even effectively lead. I don't need to be the best marketer. I just need to know who the best marketer is. And so I don't need to be the bookkeeper, but I need to know like what a good bookkeeper like looks like. And I can tell you, I've had quite a few of them, and we've never gone through strategy, pricing, overhead, and all this like this type of shit because I've always wanted it, but it's like to learn it is very challenging. But when you put your credit card down and you make the spend, you're getting every damn bit of every drop out of that bucket of bucket paint, out of bottom paint. Same thing with this. Like if I'm going to spend the money with Zeb, then I'm damn sure I'm going to get every last bit of it out of that I can, so I can learn about it and execute it when he's either gone or just that I have three smart guys with Ilya all focus on this effort.
into that point too. So you mentioned like paint, right? And so to get into the point of like paint drying, and I think, now we're getting to the point where we're getting down the pricing discussion. So that was the discussion on spend savings. And so for the last 3 months, your organization has already improved its net position, almost 200,000 bucks. And even that's after the fee that you pay on me. So I've already paid for myself, plus making you more on the bottom line. We got into the pricing discussion last week, so we started switching the tone. We went from, okay, now that we got spend management control, let's start looking at your top line revenue. How well or how poorly are you driving top line revenue? So we took, we had discussion where like, well, if we could differentiate price point by just simply looking at day of the week, for example, and we looked at the volume of passengers and how Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you were getting like 60% of your volume on those days. So by differentiating the price point on those days versus the weekdays, okay, as well as going line item by line item and comparing your price points top level compared to broader market as well as your value proposition, the first day we looked at price, we said, hey, we can get your organization from 2.4 million in revenue from last year, right? Without a drop in volume yet, by just differentiating the day of the week with the information I presented you, we got it up to 3.1. So by changing that price point at the top level, we're up 660,000 in the first year or in the first hour. Okay. And you, Illy, and I were sitting there looking at it, you're like, yeah, this is doable. Then there was the question of, well, how do we break this down in terms of the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 3 hour? And so now that's where we're getting more and more granular. And that's where we got to today. And now we're losing Kevin's attention because
No, you're
now
not.
it's like,
No, you're
now you're,
you're not. It's just like firstly, I do that because it's like a sensory thing. Like
yeah,
I'm playing with my beard with this, like it gets stuck in it, and then it just kind of like combs it or whatever. You know what I mean? I kind of do that. I'm not kissing it. I'm just, no. It's like just a weird thing. I don't know. It's just a habit I picked. Now it got brought up by fucking Zach. You know what I mean? He's like, what are you doing with the mic? And it's just, it's something I do a lot of the time. I mean, I'm 100% in there. I'm with you. Yeah, but what I was thinking about as you're saying this, like, it's fucking wild that in this industry and all industries, a lot of times there's zero intentionality about charging, right? Like the guy that's got the pencil factory fucking knows, like to the nuts, what he's making. And that's why he's telling. He's not like, what's everybody else selling a pencil for? You know what I mean? Like literally that's how we got started. I mean, when I started doing day of play, I always thought just intuitively that the trip, the combo trips that I was copying off of Sunset were just severely underpriced. Like I just heard about, like every time I turned around, it was like, oh, this costs this and that costs this and this costs this, and I'm like, why are we only selling this trip for 150 bucks? So the first thing I wanted to do here was pull out a few things that they offered and add another few bucks onto it because it was already a good value prop. And so, I don't think we as operators, I don't think we think about price at all. Like, I mean, everybody's just like,
No.
what's that guy charge? And then charge $5 less. Totally guilty of doing that myself. Could you imagine you're going out on this like whole day boat ride with your family on waters you've never traversed and you don't know anything about it, but like the fucking biggest buying decision was $5, right? It's like, no, they're $3.95 and they're $3.99. I want to save $4 on this fucking boat rental. Like it's wild, and I'm totally guilty of it too at times. And even today, just kind of going through with it, like it was so hard for me to like wrap my head around an already made up number. Like I just want to be like, Gab, you're just making up numbers. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, motherfucker, so are you. You know what I mean? Like what like goes into this, and that's sort of like what we're doing and where my face goes here is not that I'm paying attention. I'm just like, fuck, this is a lot, man. It's really a lot to think about and it's challenging because it does make you think. And that's the biggest fucking hang up for everybody, dude. Other operators, my
yeah,
business partners, everyone. I'm like, dude, I know you don't want to think about this, but this is the hardest part of your business you're ever going to fucking. It's not boat sinking. It's not jet skis crashing into each other. It's sitting down and going like, fucking, how does this work? Let me try and understand something that I fundamentally don't understand. And again, dude, like I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be going through any of this because I still hear crickets when I ask like Ilya, who's provides all of these reports, looks at all these numbers, and I'll be like, hey, dude, what are blah A B C D E F G, and then he just goes silent. You know what I mean? It's just like it
So
makes your
I
brain hurt.
I have this theory that everyone knows how to price themselves when it's slow, but they don't know how to price themselves when it's busy. Because when it's busy, that's the greatest opportunity to make more money. And that's it's just something I've seen, with all my wave res and trip shot customers is that when it's really busy, they set their prices in the beginning of the year. And yeah, they're going to put their prices higher during peak weeks, but it's not high enough if they're selling out 3 days, 4 days in advance.
We
And
weren't
it's
even
the
taking
same.
into account like our overhead. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
this happens all the time. Like, dude, I'm 8 miles away from Crab Island or the fuck compared to like my competitor who charges more because he's in the Destin fucking harbor. As somehow that's some kind of fucking huge benefit, dude. There's nothing I love more than paying for parking and getting stuck in traffic. Oh, the Destin fucking harbor. And that somehow makes their product more expensive than mine when mine costs more to actually fucking deliver the same thing. And we're not even taking that into account because I'm just a rabbit chasing my fucking tail. Back to Zed's conversation about all of our overhead. It's like, man, this isn't even getting fucking factored in because I'm doing the same thing, cash accounting, bookkeeping. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, look at all the money in the bank, dude. We're killing it. I'm the best operator that
Yeah.
ever lived. When it's just like, God, man, like Zed looked at some of the volume here and is just like, yeah, change it $5-6. Even like we don't even have to get that super deep into it. You don't have to fucking like go like, hey man, like, how many whistles do I spend a year on each jet ski? And we're going to make sure that we well that in. It's just like, well, if you got 6,000 bookings here or whatever it is, if you just raise the price by $5, you'd make an extra 30 grand. Like, oh, okay.
That's where Greg That's where, Greg, we were when we originally keyed in on it. I looked, I was like, well, here's your demand pockets, right? And I shared with Kevin, here's where the peak demand is by activity, within these. And I said, if we made these tweaks here, this is the amount it would go down to. And then so the conversation kind of evolves past that. And every time there's a connection point where we talk, we're evaluating the value prop of that item, especially relative to others within your organization, from a consumer's perspective, and then attaching a price point that's more in line with the customer's expectation. And so I would say, and Kevin, we're super on early into this, and you brought up a lot of great questions today on, well, how do we consider seasonality? What do we do low time of the year? And that, like I said in the meeting, was like, well, that's coming. Don't you worry, we got that covered. But even in this context, we're only about what I would say maybe a third of the way into your pricing discussion for your activities. And at this stage, if you maintained last year's volume with just these small tweaks I've proposed by activity, and you've acknowledged all of those price points are more than doable, that's 660,000 in revenue. So mix that 660 in revenue with that, probably close to $250,000 drop in spend for the whole year. We're up almost $1 million in net profit in your business in just 2-3 months. And now, after this, once we conclude the planning, we're going to meet every other week of the year, and I'm going to hold you to those targets, right? We're going to be watching volume sales, purchase date, start date. We're going to be looking at that average spend by activity to revenue, and we're going to cadence that out. And so not only is it vanity on, yeah, this looks great to paper. I love an extra 750,000 net in the bank account at the end of the year, but how do we guarantee it's going to happen? And so we got 8 more months to get that concluded, but this is just the first 2.5, 3 months. Like we haven't even tasted the real stuff yet.
Probably just be you and Ilya after another 3 months, dude. Just let me know when the fucking checks deposit, man. No,
Yeah.
no, I say that jokingly because it's like I think about like the larger picture, right? As you say, as you go deeper, I go wider, right? So I'm like, that's great, like you know what I mean, but like there's all these other questions I have. There's all this other, when I start thinking about like depreciation, amortization, like, and I know I'm like, it's funny because it's like, again, the way my brain works, like, it's so great that you figured out this pricing thing for us. Okay, now that that's done, and you're like, no, it's not done. We're just getting started. And I'm just like, all right, let's start figuring out how these boats pencil and like what makes sense, like when do we get rid of them, because I'm seeing it in my car rental business, and I look at like real estate, and you like, and on other, like we do a lot of shit, dude. We're doing home services. I find that super fucking interesting. We're doing take my boat test is like full e-com. Like I deliver an email and get paid for it. That's super fucking interesting. The lead times, the marketing, the fucking sales, like I find all of it so illuminating because I'm always like, how does this pertain to my main hustle, my main business? Sometimes I do these other businesses and I just wrap it right back to Destiny. I do that a lot. So I've really been thinking, and this is like why you got this question today on our call. Like when you think about like flipping a house, right? Or renting a house, like the deal all gets done and all the money gets made when you buy the fucking property and what you buy it for. And so I've seen that translate to the car rental business like a lot. You know, I'm like, wow, like I've got one vehicle that's upside down, another vehicle that did the same amount of revenue that's 6,000 in the black that we're going to sell at more than what we owe for. So I've really been thinking about this like as it pertains to jet skis. Like I've even started to like entertain this idea of like going back to used boats. Not the it's the last thing in the world I want to do because I like new boats. But when you start thinking about the depreciation side of it, that brand new boats lose like half of their value in the first 2 to 3 years. It's like, man, you know, I'm like, wow, there's another, as we just talked a couple meetings ago where I can't remember, some small thing. And it was just like, oh, there's an extra $3,000, just pure profit. And I think like what you've really got me to sort of see is that there's this all of these not nickels and dimes, but $100 bills inside of my business that I don't really have to do much except for make a few meaningful changes, impactful changes. That it's like, well, no, I don't have to go out and buy 10 more boats to make another $200,000. I have to just change our system on how we're doing things and find that 200,000 inside of my business. And it's super empowering. And it also like takes the pressure off of your shoulders of having to like constantly keep on fucking throwing more logs and gasoline into a fire that's already fucking roaring, man.
Well said, senor. Well said. And by the way, the balance sheet discussion, now you're starting to take my drift for when we get into year two, because we're there. Don't you worry, we're going to be talking about it. But there's definitely opportunity on managing cash flow, especially when you consider the discussion between, well, do we lease or do we purchase? Do we purchase and intentionally flip them 2 years in to be able to capture that value? Yes. But that is a capital asset discussion item. So we're going to get to that in your organization once we finish the profit and loss. But we got to take care of and maximize out that profit and loss first, at least just in your education, right? And Ilya's education, because it's not just you going through this journey, but it's you and a manager and getting you guys to think objectively on your guys' perspective within the influence and control that you guys have. And it's I even who was it? Scott, Four Season Guides at America Outdoors, which you know Scott. He's in the Morning Eddy group. You've had some interactions with him. He approached Corey and I, and he was like, you know, one of the things that you guys under communicate is how much education comes along in working with you guys. You guys are educating us as operators daily, whether it be in the Eddy group or whether it be in the strategy discussions. We're learning so much more about us as an operation, us as leaders. And he's like, that is what you guys need to somehow communicate more on we're giving you, not just doing it for you. I mean, we help you guys, but never do we do anything for you guys. But we're giving you the tools, the resources, the knowledge to make this thing bigger and better after we're off retainer even,
Yeah.
and how you can apply it to different businesses.
And I can't preach this from the mountaintops enough because I didn't really have this feeling like I'm actually. And like, man, yeah, you know, it's like sometimes we have like guys that we have relationships with on the show that have like, you know, handed us money. So when you guys listen to this, I don't want you to think like I'm singing Zeb's praises because he wrote us a check. Because I promised you, the checks I write him are way fucking bigger. I promise you. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely believe this. And what I'm about, like, you know, what I'm gonna say is that like I've always been like I'm always you ask Greg, like, you know, sometimes when I'm doing this, I might be falling asleep. Like if you bring a fucking somebody on the show, like Greg and I talked about it, I'm like, dude, I honestly don't fucking want to do this anymore. Like I want to learn. So I get like fucking rocked up for learning, dude. And I'll tell you like when I was learning about like marketing and sales, like it really made my business exciting. It really made me way more passionate and excited about fucking like just all business in general. Like, oh my God, this is so cool. And that's the way I feel again. And I haven't felt like that, especially about the water sports in a long time. I started to feel myself getting like into this place where I meet so many operators who have just worked themselves into a fucking job. Now I haven't done that. I've done a great job about being like fucking hands off and having something that's fucking pretty great and does pretty well and doesn't need me micromanaging every last piece of it. However, like the part of me like getting hands off of it is because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And going through this process in the beginning, the first meeting, and I told you, dude, like I was super scared. Like I was just like, oh my God, dude. Like I know I've just been like swiping credit cards, bang, this, that. Everyone's got credit cards, money's coming in, money's going out, buy more, buy more, grow more, blah, 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 blah. And I just have purposely shied away from this. And now in the beginning was just more of like your sort of like joy that you brought to each meeting, the huge smile and the excitement. And now it's like something I really look forward to. And I don't mean that like in an ass kissy way. I truly mean it. I'm like, cool, like what am I going to learn today? How are we going to make more money? And like the have fun portion of it is me like, you know, like kind of digging into these fucking spreadsheets and digging into our numbers and learning like at a deeper level about the main controller of my business, which is the finance. So like I do trust the process, and I honestly mean that I have enjoyed the process. Like you're probably noticing me showing up to more of the actual Eddie and the AI things. Like as of recent, I have been. To be fair, we've had a lot going on. So, but still, I do look forward to joining in them. And as I think I told you guys before, I've done some of these like Zoom meeting network groups and the one-on-one with you guys and learning about the finance and all of the fucking pieces in my business and money inside of my business that I can get back and fucking keep is awesome. And then like having like a network of people to go and talk to in a completely fucking different industry that I get to learn from and hear about their businesses, like dude, campgrounds, rafting, Colorado, Wyoming, Alaska, like all that shit I find to be so fucking interesting. So the learning process from the consult to the group has just been, it's been awesome. And it really makes me excited for business again because I was getting fucking like anything but this. Can we, Greg will tell you, I'll be like, dude, please don't talk about water sports anymore to me, dude. Like, I can't talk about any NFTs, whatever it is you want to go on about. But Greg probably sees how excited I am about our new rebranding and all, the port. Like, I mean, you felt like a little bit more positivity and excitement coming from me on some of this stuff, huh?
Yeah, when it makes money, you get excited.
Facts.
There we go.
There's
So
no
Kev,
lie there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
if there's money, then Kevin gets excited. I mean,
I
honestly,
love it.
that's for anybody. When you see something working in your business and you're getting sales, you're getting bookings. I mean, how can you not get excited for it? Nothing's worse than having a business that is struggling and it's just constant, trying to stay above water. Like that is no fun. And it gets to the point where you lose passion and then employee morale suffers and it's not it can be a wicked funnel that you can get yourself in, but yeah, and that's why it's so important to take time to reflect and understand what are you doing this for, what makes you excited, can you fix what's going on, do you just sell? I mean, for some people they just need to sell, like they need to get out of it. It's no longer something that they love doing anymore, and it's just like, why continue? And there's actually probably more of that happening in water sports than most industries, where they work themselves into a job, like Kevin said, and then they don't know where to go from there. It's like I just need to continue operating this until I retire or I hopefully find someone to buy it or take over.
Greg, I don't think you realized it, and I saw Kevin kind of laughing about this. He's been mentioning a few times like the Eddie, and I'm sure people on this group are just curious, like, what is this Eddie? He keeps talking about a peer group. So, to lean into both of you guys, and just to let the audience know about it, the Eddy is a peer group of operator owners and managers all across the nation. So we get together every other week.
It
You
just
just zoomed in super close on Greg.
Sweet Zoom.
There we go. We get together every other week, and when I was asking operators years ago, I was like, "Hey guys, when especially America Outdoors, and probably your audience at the port would say the same thing. I'd say, what brings you to these conferences, their trade shows?" And they said, at least in my audience, they said, "We come to listen to you, Pat Tabor, and Aaliyah speak, so the education side of it, and we came to network and collaborate, with our peers effectively." I was like, oh, I could do this more often. Like that's easy. So I created the AD peer group, and my team and I, we have a monthly curriculum that we deliver, and it's all around building up your business, growing the business, but more specifically, growing those people and growing the managers within your business and setting a lot of structure to the intentional development. And then we'll do data shares. We have an NDA. Everybody in there has an NDA, so they get to talk about finances, they get to talk about spend, they get to talk about whatever they want in the business. But then there's the collaboration, engaging, and learning from each other. So, Greg, you just mentioned getting back to that why, like what's that vision? And so Kevin and Ilya just went through that starting in October, where the Eddy did a start with why as a group. We did a multi-vision, which lays out the next few years. This last month, we did a strengths assessment, and Kevin's already kind of dropping some verbs about who he is within the strengths assessment. And then we're going to get into some curriculum going forward. But that's where we have fun with each other. And as you just laid out, those challenges that you described, that sucks. And it sucks being in a position like that. And Kevin was in that position, but literally due to like the Eddy and these work together and going through those exercises the last couple of months, he's got that life back, as we can tell.
after this
Life,
podcast, I
not
have
life. I just wasn't doing anything.
after the podcast, I actually have a meeting with a business acquisition consultant, and he's basically going to help me walk me through um, like how to raise capital for a startup. And he has a peer group. He has a podcast.
I thought it was
Practical.
December and you're getting ready to sell or something. You're like,
Oh
man, I'm sad
no.
I'm not making any money again.
He's he's the founder of a podcast called Practical Founders. His name's Greg. Greg Head is his name. Um, but he has a peer group for other startups that are between a million and 5 million ARR, and he basically coaches you on how to kind of take that leap from a million to 5 million. And it's a peer group of other people, and you have to apply to this. You just can't join it. You have to have a certain amount of revenue. But he has kind of a same kind of plan like the Eddy, but you meet once a month, plus you have one-on-ones. But I need to know, like I want to know how, startups raise capital. What's the right way of doing it? What's a way to basically make sure I don't get myself into a situation where I'm working for somebody or working for a private equity company. So
Did you
it's
join the
very
group?
important. I'm sorry?
Did you join his group?
Not yet. I'm gonna talk to him right after.
Greg is so tight, dude. I bet you told him the price tag, and Greg's like, "Oh, I don't know. I gotta think about it."
No, it's 6,000 a year. It's not that bad.
Yeah, that's fine. I think you should. I think you should. You can get into like then you can like learn more about. Sorry, back to Zeb. Um,
No.
yeah, man. So, so like, what's your why? I mean, like, if you don't mind, like, I mean, what do you see for the future for this and for what you're doing? I mean, what are your revenue goals? I turn the
Yeah, so
table.
this year, I mean, we are seeking to hit the 1 million mark as an organization. So, me and myself, I did it getting up to like 500,000, just under 500,000 between Corey and I. And then we've done a lot of hiring with Kayla, who does our data analysis. She manages the central data hub, which leans into the professional services and the Eddy group. And then we hired on Robert this year to really remove me and replicate me, if you would, in the financial consulting side. So revenue target is to get to the 1 million mark. Operating income would then be about 450, 500,000. So I'm happy with that. Afterwards, we'll see where it evolves. I lean into a lot on what Corey, Kayla, and Robert want. From their perspective, they are all where we resonate on travel, we resonate on getting out and having fun. We love touching dirt. We have our 30-hour work weeks, which they thrive off of, especially working in a remote environment like this. And
30
yeah, and so
hours. So what you guys all work part-time, it sounds like.
yeah, they get full pay, full salary as everybody else, but we got 30-hour work weeks, and that's been part of a challenge. Like one thing that I recognize too, working remote, because we don't have locations. We don't have the benefit of being able to be out on jet skis or river or water, or connecting with our friends side by side. So being 100% virtual remote, it's hard to be behind a computer this long. So
Tough.
I would really gas out after 30 hours and of true dedicated time. I mean, the work product, the output Corey puts out, Robert puts out, Kayla puts out. It's way above bar, and way above what I think anybody in a competitive environment would have. Um, and I expect a lot of the employees out of that. So, for us, it's more a matter of the output than the input, and they value those 30-hour work weeks. I love taking a day to go in and fish with my kid, to have 3-day weekends with my family. That gets back to the why. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And where do you hope to go? Where do you want to take this? Do you have like a target number that you feel like you would stop at?
No, not immediately. No. I get offers to sell the business often, and so I don't have any immediate goals on that case. I think personnel wise, we've talked about a staff of like 3 to 5 financial consultants. So basically, like the Roberts, 3 to 5 of those. Probably Corey and I working on the attract stuff, speaking, presenting. Maybe working with Kevin a little bit more on that hard sell stuff, and then
Got you.
um, and then Kayla, probably her and having a support person. So for me, it's more a matter of staff. We'd be at probably about 2.5 to 4.5 million revenue wise when we got to that level. And I'd be more than satisfied for my own personal comp in that case.
Just, I always want to know,
Yeah.
man. I was like, like I said, I'm always interested in different business models, So I
Yeah.
find it all super interesting. I mean, 5 years from now, I could have like I'll rebirth my dad's plumbing business. O'Neill Plumbing will come
Yeah.
back, dude. Like, what do you know about plumbing? Just how to sell the jobs, boys. Well, we're coming up on the end here. Zab, I appreciate you so much coming back on and talking with our group. If anybody's interested in talking to you, learning more about the Eddy, or working with you on a one-on-one basis, I hard sell it, guys. I love it. Obviously, if you haven't listened to the entire show, I'm a huge fan of everything that's going on there, and I'm glad to be a part of it. If somebody else wants to take my advice and come give you some money, how can they do it?
Yeah. Email me, Zeb at zebulonllc.com. I know you guys will put in the trade show notes. I'm sure you can reach out to Kevin. Kevin can put you in contact with me too.
Percent.
He gave you the thumbs up on that. So um, check out the website, zebulonllc.com. Yeah, give us a ring.
So, man, thank you
Good.
so much for coming on, brother.
All right, Zeb.
Thank
As
you.
always,
Appreciate you
keep it
guys.
awkward.